Hi, and welcome to another episode of Red True Diaries. This is episode 5, I believe. We're gonna say it's episode 5 of how to live an orgasmic life. And I'm trying to keep out other things in the background, just keep it focused on nature so that I'm not, invading anyone's privacy or giving too much away. Actually, I think the house will be fine. So this is another more, actually they've all been kind of impromptu. I keep meaning to plan these out, but that hasn't been happening. Like many of you, and especially women, my life is pretty on the go. And yeah, there are plenty of things on my to-do list that keep, rolling over to the next day. But the thing is, they do get done, and keep at them. And one of the ways is, just doing it regardless of if your plan is as planned or as perfect as you wish it would be. Just go ahead and get started. Just do it, whether you feel like it or not. I'm about to curse, so for those who don't like vulgarity, sometimes I just tell myself, fuck your feelings, fuck what you feel, though I don't mean your intuition. So it's kind of funny. All right. I'll let that be the segue to working with your menstrual cycle. Today is the first day of my period, also known as the menstrual cycle or the moon cycle, because it's in the same, or generally is in the same amount of days that the moon goes around the earth. Just making sure I have that right. Yeah. So that's 29 and a half days, and today is the first day for those who don't keep track or don't know how to keep track. You start with the first day that your cycle started, that you start to bleed. And for those, just a quick summary for those who don't know, it's when the fertilized egg that we're born with, because women are born with all the eggs we'll ever have, when that egg isn't fertilized, you're not pregnant, it comes out with the blood lining that is built as food for the zygote, the male and sperm. If I was pregnant, that's what it would embed into, that blood. And so the start of our cycle is when the body says, okay, you're not pregnant, and the uterus starts to can feel that way at times, but fortunately today it's not. It can start to contract like that, and to shed the lining. And some people find this very sacred, and they use it, and do a ceremony with it of all sorts. I don't do any of that, though. I think that's really awesome and respectful of it, as opposed to those who say on the other spectrum, though. Everyone to each their own. I just feel sad for women who I understand not wishing that the pain wasn't there, but who are completely out of tune and don't think that it's a beautiful, wonderful thing to have your cycle and be so a part of nature. So I didn't always think that way. I definitely, ever since I was 12 years old is when I got my period, and no one told me about it. My mom never even had to talk to me about it, with me about it. In health class, we went over, what happens in the reproductive cycle, but there's nothing like when you first experience it. And my mom and I never really talked about things other than maybe may I have some aspirin or ibuprofen to deal with the pain. I was embarrassed even to ask her for pads or tampons for a long time, and finally I got more comfortable, and so did she. And I bring these things up, all of these things, the menstrual cycle, sex, orgasms, because these conversations aren't being had enough. Like I said, I'm in my late 30s, and I've spoken to many different people over the years. I express myself artistically in multiple ways, and I also am a somewhat personable person. So in having quite candid conversations with men and women, I've been told that I tend to talk about my period or things related to it more than the average person, and just saying things such as I have it, or oh, I'm ovulating now so my energy is higher, or oh, it's the week before my period so I'm going to take it easy on myself. Just things that I know, or related to my diet, such as oh, I'm not going to eat that's too much salt or sugar. I'm going to stick more with just water and eating more kale, green leafy vegetables, especially the week before, because I know how these things affect my thoughts and feelings positively. So it's not like I'm always talking about it in a way that is random or not relevant. It's very relevant. It's just what I'm realizing and come to realize, and people do tell me afterward they most of them appreciate the insights that I've shared, and that's why I'm sharing them with you, because I'm realizing, wow, this isn't the norm, and a lot of people don't know these things. And what pulls at my heartstrings and where my heart goes out to are the women who don't know these things. There are many of us out here still, and don't know basic things like this, when even to start your cycle. I'll be quite honest, I was unsure about the day until about my early 20s exactly. So when do you start that? The 28 or 29 day cycle a lot of us go by, and it's the day that you start to bleed. So that's why you're like, again already? And trust me, if you feel that way, and I've heard some men say that already, and I'm like, yeah, well, imagine how I feel every 3 weeks or so, because it's anywhere from say 3 to 5 days for a lot of women. Some women longer, some shorter, and then there are 3 more weeks typically, and yeah, another 3 weeks, lo and behold, you start to cramp or bleed again. And as I mentioned earlier, my cramps are fortunately doing great. I haven't had to take any Advil or ibuprofen. I actually haven't even had any orgasms, which is a natural way that I treat my cramps. But yeah, I guess I've been pretty on top of it, though sleep deprived. So that's what I mean in terms of still following through, doing my daily diary entry and video, because this means a lot to me. So fuck my feelings in terms of wanting to take a nap. Wanting to just relax and curl up with a heating pad, though I'll do that in a few hours. I have some other things on my list of important things to do, so that's what I understand, and I know how easy it can be to get sucked into inertia and apathy, and I love those days too in terms of just lying around, but today is not that day, and I do plan around it. I do have actually a less stressful day because I keep track of my period. I thought it was due on Friday, and it didn't come Friday. It came this morning, 2 days earlier, which is a surprise. However, I tend to make my schedule lighter, starting ideally 3 days before it's due, but definitely 2 days, because I know there's variation month to month. And I tend to, the day it's due and the 2 days before, because I hope, especially women, take note. So 2 days before, so you count the day you start to bleed, count from 1 to 29. That 29th day, on my calendar, I put a big X, and I put 2 other X's the 2 days before and the day after, so that I'm aware, all right, so even when I got caught up, a couple weeks go by, I forget again, oh, already? But when I'm making plans and scheduling plans, I do my best to check with my calendar, see how I'm most likely going to feel, so that I make it easier on myself. It's no one else's job to do it for you, and it's wonderful if you do have someone else looking out after you like that. It is a gift. It's not the norm, unfortunately, but it doesn't matter, because the power is in our hands. We can do these things for ourselves, and it helps us to love ourselves and feel more empowered, more cared for, more nurtured, and that builds self-respect and self-esteem and compassion and all those wonderful things that we oftentimes look for and think we need from somebody else, but we don't. It's wonderful to share it, to give it and receive it. I will say, all of this is helping remind me of things that, sharing with you helps remind me of doing these consistently too, because we have our good days and we have our bad days, as strengths and weaknesses. We all do. None of us are in this world alone, even and especially when we feel like we are. And trust me, when we're in pain, it can really feel like we're by ourselves, and when we don't have another person there to help us, it can feel that way that much more. So I've been there many times, and I'll probably go back there again. I will go back. Oh, we'll see. I don't know. Maybe not. But I'm okay with it. I'm prepared. And that's what these things start to do. Help prepare you for dealing with the pain, not ignoring it or denying it. It strengthens you so that you have a better mindset, which is everything. That's another good TEDx talked about stress. Darn, I don't remember the woman's name. I'm going to put it underneath this video, the link. But it says stress, something about stress. And it add the positive benefits of stress, though. It was a psychiatrist or psychologist, say psychiatrist, but a female one who did an awesome, really good TEDx talk about handling stress well, and that it can be very positive for us. And it all depends on what we think about it. Imagine that. So it's getting long, and I need to meet someone in about, I don't know, half hour. I need to get ready. So one thing I wanted to mention is that even though obviously this hair color is not my hair color, and I oftentimes this is the first tube of lipstick I've bought in about 10 years. The red theme, as I said, is a big symbol, and Phoenix is not. I wish it was my birth name because it's a badass name, Phoenix, but it's not my birth name either. These things, besides it being somewhat of a persona for me to use in terms of being that they correlate with my topic, with these messages of female empowerment and more, chakras, because I have brothers and sisters, like the earth, it's deep in blood that unites us all. But it also is something that I am using for privacy. I am someone who's very open, and I just care to say that all of these things are me still. They're coming from my heart. So just because I have these things that are appearances, like I said in the video yesterday, it is only with the heart that one can see rightly. What is essential is invisible to the eye, said the Little Prince, by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, maybe. All right, so yeah, that's a line that I quoted that has helped me, and to maybe help you to, as I oftentimes say, follow your heart and trust your intuition. It took a long time for me to get there, but I still falter at times, but you know, I'm there much more often than not. I really am doing my best. I feel called to do these things, to help other people to do the same in their own unique way. Each of us, what is it, I think 7 billion of us here on earth, still have our own unique way to express our truths. So one last line I'm going to leave us with, and so by the way, so that's what all of this is about, in case you're wondering, why is this so important to me? This is what I feel called to do, and this is part of my life path that I've been working and becoming more conscious of for the past 20 years. So, but it's been a lifetime, which would say double that, almost 40 years in the making. So do your best to be patient with yourself, and remember that. That's the line I'm going to leave us with. Whew, my arms are getting tired holding this. In times of universal deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act. George Orwell. Thank you for watching. I love you. Sorry, I'm so tired. I'll see you soon.